So it's 24 hours to a day.
Yes.
So they tell you you're supposed to sleep what?
8 hours.
And so now you got how many left?
16.
And then you're supposed to work what?
8 hours.
And now you got what left?
8 hours.
You haven't cooked. You haven't got dressed. You haven't said hello to the children. You have sleep deprivation. That's how they get you. Sleep deprivation. Huh? You haven't watched TV. You haven't called your mother, your children. Sleep deprivation. It's right there. That's why the rich folks, you better not try to call their house after 8 o'clock at night. They sleep. You work midnight, what they call the midnight shift?
The night graveyard shift.
Graveyard. What graveyard mean what?
Death, the cemetery.
Death. Okay. Death. A cemetery. Why? 90 minutes after the sun go down, your brain get recharged. After midnight, the charging stops. If you're not home by midnight, you turn into a what? The nursery rhyme. Pumpkin?
Pumpkin, yeah.
What's the only part of your body look like a pumpkin? Your head. That's all. The number one cause of death in America is not homicide or drugs or suicide. The number one death in America is sleep deprivation.
Lack of sleep.
Sleep deprivation.
So how much sleep does the body require?
The universal order requires that you must be in bed 90 minutes after the sun go down to get the brain recharged after 12 midnight. You know the story of Cinderella? She's not back in the house by midnight. She turns into a pumpkin. After midnight.
Now when does the sun go down?
It changes. It goes down different every day.
What's the average time it goes down?
It varies. In the summertime, it goes down.
What about the wintertime now?
Well, in the wintertime, it's your shortest. In the wintertime, if the sun, let's say if the sun was down at 5:30, you got 90 minutes before you go to bed.
So they should be in bed
at 90 minutes.
By 7 o'clock.
When do bears hibernate? In the wintertime, right?
Now this is news. I've not heard this. You're telling me that we should be in bed 90 minutes after the sun goes down?
No, let me back up for a minute.
Okay.
Let's say God only came to the planet once, right? And God had not been back to fix it or change it. There were no lights. So if there were no lights tonight.
There was total darkness.
Yeah, what would you do? You do all your stuff in the daytime, right? And at nighttime, you ain't gonna sew a quilt.
So let me get back to this. So you're saying that an individual should be in bed at least by 7 or 7:30?
It depends. Whenever the sun go down. And then you also got to put in daylight saving time.
Let's say the sun goes down here about 6 p.m.
All right, then you should be in bed by 8:30.
By 8:30?
Yes.
Okay, how many hours of sleep do you need once you're in that bed?
You need about 9 hours now.
9 hours every day?
Let me show you what happens. Let me show you what happens.
Okay.
At the first 90 minutes, your brain gets recharged, okay?
While you're in bed?
While you sleep. The brain gets recharged.
So when you say in 9 hours, you mean sleeping?
Sleeping.
Not just lying in the bed?
Not just lying in the bed.
Okay.
Sleeping. The
All
brain
right.
gets recharged, and then after that, the body starts purifying and cleansing itself. If you went to the doctor and got a blood test today, okay? When I did a fast for 82 days at a hospital in New Orleans because I wanted scientific data to find out what happens to the human body during starvation. And I never understood out of all the blood they was taking out of me, the blood guy never showed up on time, and I loved it because I couldn't stand a needle. Except when I went to bed at night, okay? He was there right before I went to bed, and I got up every morning at 4 o'clock, and he was there. So I asked the guy, I said, man, why do Dracula be late all the time getting blood? And here's what he told me. When you wake up in the morning, your blood sugar, when you sleep at night, your blood sugar builds up. And you use that all day long. And they wanted to know when I wake up, you know, how high was my blood sugar? And they want to know when I go to bed at night, how low. They found out on the fast it never dips. You know, it stays the same.
9 hours.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you this. I average 7 or 8 hours of sleep every night.
Yes.
I actually was feeling good about the answer. But you're telling me we need 9 hours every night?
Yeah, but you listen. Let me tell you something about sleep deprivation, okay? On the Oprah Winfrey Show, there was an extreme case of sleep deprivation. See, here's what happened. When you go to sleep at night, after you get X amount of hours of sleep, a chemical is manufactured in the brain. Oh. Okay, you hear me? That's God's gift. Not to get that is the equivalent to running out of gas.
So it takes you 9 hours to get the complete.
Complete.
Get it complete.
Complete.
Let me raise this with. This is good.
But let me just finish, please.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Extreme on the Oprah Winfrey Show of sleep deprivation. Every day, this guy's wife carries the child to preschool every day. He picks up the child every evening. But on Thursday, he have to take the child to school. So one Thursday, he goes to pick the child up, and he said, "Child haven't been here." So he calls his wife, "Susan, I thought you was gonna. How come you didn't drop Mary off? Today's Thursday. Sleep deprivation. He forgot the child was in the back of the car. He went to work, let the windows up, 106. The child is dead.
That's what happens?
Sleep deprivation. And the reason most folks is not wealthy and out of poverty, because in sleep deprivation, you make quick decisions.
So, what happens to someone, let's say, if they only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep? Some people would tell you they don't need much sleep.
Yeah, well,
I don't believe that, though. Hey,
There's
tell
a
'em.
universal order that put everything together, okay? And the universal order will not change its laws because of a human. Those laws are there.
So it's a slow death.
It's a slow death. Not only that, now let me say what you such a little, you know you're psychic.
No, it's just,
Don't even.
You really have my attention here today, baby. You
Listen,
have no idea.
listen.
Go ahead.
Go back to what you said, 4 hours. Okay, here's what happens. In 4 hours, I need what they call a stimulant. That stimulant can come from being hostile, okay? Because it gets my adrenaline up, but it's really my lack of sleep. That stimulant can come from alcohol or drugs. The number one drug addict in America is not these little punks on the corner, it's the elderly folks that 98% of those prescriptions they got is drug related, okay? So cigarettes, nicotine, eating is a stimulant.
So tell us this, because America's watching this. What's the minimum? I mean, if they cannot get 9.
There is no.
So they got to get 9 hours every night.
What's the minimum where I can rob you? If I take a penny or take $1 million, I have robbed you.
I cannot function unless I get 8 hours, 7 or 8 hours of sleep. I cannot function, and it carries me through the entire day until around 6 p.m.
I told you.
when
you're
the sun
blessed.
sets.
Yes.
And then by that time, I can't even function anyhow.
Yeah.
But you can retrain the body. And you make the body feel it's okay to get 4 or 5 hours of
Yeah.
sleep. But that's not its natural order.
At all.
And you're going to pay a price for it in the long run.
That's right.
All right.